We have a question about Matzo Brei. You're on a home movie.
Oh, I'm on a home movie right now?
Yeah.
Well, I hope I don't look like an idiot.
No, you look great.
Okay.
You look freshly showered.
I am freshly showered.
Okay.
Freshly shorn too.
Oh yeah, very shaved.
Very, very slick.
Just right bald, very bald. I wrote this recipe based on your recipe.
Okay.
But you, I feel like, change it all the time.
It's all about the love, you know that.
I do.
It's all about
Number one ingredient, baby. You meet someone who's never had Matzo Brei, who's never heard of it.
I married her.
I know, okay.
How to get somebody that's not Jewish to eat it or make it, I guess they just got to be like a lot of the people that subscribe to you, that like that you introduce different things to them. And so they're willing to try it. Mm-hmm. They're just willing to try it. I think it's more, this is something that looks good, and Alison Roman, everything she makes is good, so maybe this is good.
Maybe. Well, we'll report back. We'll let you know how this goes, and hopefully I make you proud.
I'm sure you'll make me proud. You make me proud with everything you do. So I'm sure
That's so
sure
sweet.
you'll make me proud with this too.
Thank you. I love you.
Love you. Hope you don't have to edit too much.
No, we're keeping everything in, except for that one part. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Love you.
Okay. All right. Talk to you later.
Bye. Hello, welcome to Home Movies. I'm Alison Roman, and today I am going to be making a dish very near and dear to my heart called Matzo Brei. Depending on where you come from, who you were raised by, what you were exposed to, Matzo Brei can be very different. Matzo Brei can mean more of like a savory scramble, or it can mean more of like a sweet pancake. I grew up with a very specific type of Matzo Brei. It's savory, it's eggy, it's buttery, it's salty. Matzah is available all year round if you want it to be, and so this is not necessarily a dish that has to be eaten around Passover time, but it is a really great way to use your leftover matzah up if you have any. If you like eggs and you're into carbohydrates, you're gonna love this dish. There's nothing in the world, and I am saying this like very seriously, I don't think there's anything in the world that is as comforting to me as this dish. It immediately makes me feel good. Like spiritually, I don't know. Not necessarily my body, because it's a lot of butter and flour. But basically the gist here is that we're gonna take matzo boards. Again, I call them boards, that's what my dad called them. I don't really know what they're called. Planks, boards, sheets, discs, I don't know. Matzah. This is one matzah. I'm gonna start by frying the onions, and these aren't caramelized onions. These are fried onions, meaning they're gonna go hot, they're gonna go fast, they're gonna go in a skillet, and we're looking for a lot, ooh, gross. But we're looking for a lot of texture. Also, fried onions can happen quickly. Caramelized onions should take a very long time. I call for one large onion. I don't have a large onion, but I do have one small onion and one medium onion, and so that's what I'll use. I love fried onions. I love them so much that I would like to eat a whole bowl of them for breakfast, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. My dad still makes matzo brei that's much better than mine, and I don't know why. It tastes better. It is better. No offense to him, I am a better cook all around. That said, his matzo brei is consistently better than mine. I'm gonna start my onions frying in a little bit of neutral oil, and then I'm gonna finish them in butter. If I started them all in butter, that butter would probably burn before the onions got a chance to fry. And this is maybe one of the few times that I'm using a nonstick skillet on purpose. It is extremely possible to make this dish in a regular stainless steel skillet. But again, my dad made his in a nonstick skillet, and I think because this is essentially a scrambled egg based dish, I feel like it's totally cool to use a nonstick skillet. No shame in that. I'm just gonna let these fry without touching them. While we wait for our onions to fry, I wanna show you my favorite snack. If you don't wanna make matzo brei, but you still have leftover matzah, can I tell you that matzah smeared with butter and topped with anchovies is an absolute delight of a treat. This and like cold vodka, forget it. What a snack. That's so good. This is a perfect snack. Did you get it? When I was a teenager, and I wanted to sleep all day and stay in my room and not talk to anybody because nobody understood me. Basically, the only thing that would get me out of the bed was my dad making Matzo Brei. And I would like shuffle out of my room and I would sit at the table, I would eat the Matzo Brei, and then I would go back into my room.
What was your vibe like when you were a teenager?
My vibe?
Yeah.
I went to a really small high school. So there wasn't like popular versus not popular because everybody inherently kind of knew each other. But I was definitely not cool. I definitely listened to a lot of like Saves the Day, the Get Up Kids,
Nice.
energy.
Yeah.
And then I became really into guys that were like in the hardcore scene. And so I pretended to like a lot of bands that were like in the hardcore scene. Don't ever pretend to like music for anybody because it's stupid. You'll regret it later in life. If there's any teens out there watching. But I mean, if you're like 35 and pretending to like a band for somebody, we gotta talk. These are getting there. See how they're not caramelized but frying? But yeah, in high school I was like I was definitely drinking alcohol. My best friend and I would go to a place called the Calabasas Commons, which is where the Kardashians hang out now. It was definitely not like that when we were in high school. No, our parents would drop us off, we'd see a movie, we'd flirt with boys. And then eventually when we started to go to like boys' houses on the weekends to like drink Miller High Lifes in the garage, we told our parents that we were bowling. And I would tell my parents I was at Katie's because she was my trustworthy friend, and Katie would tell her parents that she was bowling. So at like the end of high school, her parents were like, "You guys must be really good at bowling." We're gonna fry these more. But see how fast that's happening as opposed to caramelized onions, which we'd definitely still be here. I'm gonna just break these up into quarters. And my eggs will go in here. And my anchovies go in here.
What was your like high school wardrobe like?
Oh my god. Do you want to see my prom picture? Okay, so I wore glasses. I had like really weird hair that was definitely like feathery. It was like feathery cut. Like I had like swoopy bangs. Definitely like a big swoop. Like feathery, fringy haircut. Like blondish, but like short. And I always wore a flower in my hair.
Jesus.
And I wore those black bracelets that you get at Hot Topic. I wore a lot of like spaghetti strap, tank top midriff with like baggy pants. These onions are almost there, which means I can whisk my eggs, but I'm not gonna soak the boards just yet. This can be paused, but you can't pause the soaking of the boards. So once you like embark on that journey, you're kind of committed. I was really sullen during high school. I was doing a lot of feeling. Oh, I listened to a lot of Jimmy Eat World. I had a lot of feelings, still do. But I feel like I was always like friends with the popular guys, and there was like a few popular guys that I like had crushes on, but then they like wouldn't talk to me in public. It was very, she's all that. Didn't we all reinvent ourselves? What kind of question is that, David? No, I'm the same. In high school, I went by Allie, and in college, I went by Alison, and then I became Alison. Thus, the transformation began. These are done. Sorry, Dad, I'm not gonna almost burn them. It's time. Our onions are fried, our eggs are scrambled, and now it's time to soak our boards. I'm gonna soak them in hot water, and I'm basically just gonna cover them, and we're gonna let them soak for like a minute. Okay. It's like pretty anticlimactic, but I'm just gonna submerge them. Still a little too hard.
For the people who aren't you touching it right now, like.
Well, once I get there, I'll let you know what to look for. I have to get there to describe it. How do you describe a sunset if you've never seen one? They're done. We're done here. So see how they're bendable? You can still see the corner, you can still see the shape. That's what you want. They still have like a slight snap. They're essentially just falling apart. They look waterlogged. They look like they got caught in the rain. They don't look like they've been underwater. Get yourself a matzah board that looks like it's been caught in the rain. That's a poem. So I'm gonna add the matzah to the eggs. And you can kind of break them up a little bit as you toss them in the eggs, but they'll do that anyways, naturally. I'm gonna season these again with salt and pepper. Like I said, my dad's Matzo Brei is almost always better than mine. That said, my one piece of feedback that he certainly never has asked me for is that I feel like his needs a little bit of salt. Sorry. Dad. And you want to kind of toss until the egg starts to soak again into the matzah. But you can see pieces of matzah board in here. It's not, there's no mush in there. And letting this soak for a minute or two is a good idea. So I'm gonna put my heat back on. I'm gonna go medium heat. My dad's is definitely more of a low and slow scramble, which leads to like a creamier, softer Matzo Brei. But I actually enjoy like a bit firmer texture, so like I go a little bit hotter and faster. Tomato. Matzah with an OH, matzah with an AH. I'm excited. I've been eating literally all day, and I am still beyond thrilled to be eating this. Mostly because I get to also feed a room full of people that have never had it before. And if they don't love it, well, they better lie and say that they do. I'm too fragile at this stage in the day to hear anything but abject praise. Lie to me. I'm adding the eggs and the matzah, and I'm gonna stir everything together. You might be saying to yourself, looks just like scrambled eggs, and you're right. I'm gonna add a little bit more butter. And that's what it should look like. It cooks extremely briefly. You should see like the parts of the matzah. You should see the bits of the fried onion. I've definitely fed this to people and they're like, we love it. Because I don't know, I think it is like a unique sort of thing, but what's not to love? It's fried onions, it's unleavened bread, it's eggs. My dad has definitely never put a single herb on his Matzo Brei, but I am his daughter. And I love chives. It doesn't look like much. There's a reason why I didn't photograph it for the cookbook, but damn if this isn't one of my favorite things on the planet. I'm only putting dill on really because I have it. This is not a necessity. Neither are the chives. Okay, now that I've officially eaten already half of a matzah board, I will now proceed to eat more matzah boards in the form of this Matzo Brei. I like to serve mine with like salted yogurt or sour cream or applesauce or both on the same plate. But jam might be a little much here because this is like a decidedly savory Matzo Brei. I feel like I could have gone like 30 seconds longer on the soak. Much like foods that are very important to me, like pie crust and biscuits. Matzo Brei is something that I feel like every time I make it, I'm striving to make it better. And there's like a version in my brain that I'm comparing it to that somebody else has made at some point in my life that I'm like trying to get to. So I feel like each time I get a little closer, and I get closer to also like defining what my version is, but you know, maybe I'll go a little longer in the soak next time.
You know, it's just it's another egg dish. That's really what it is. It is just an egg dish. People go into restaurants and order eggs and onions all the time, right?
Never heard of eggs and onions, but I mean, I would.